everybody, and welcome to AppGroups, where we apply the message we heard this week at Freedom Valley Church. Jason actually preached this week, and he spoke out of Matthew 16, where we see Jesus rebuking one of his disciples and having a pretty tough conversation with Peter. You know, Peter actually takes this well, I guess, in terms of how Peter has reacted in the past, he takes it pretty well. First, Jesus tells him how he is the rock and he's going to build his church. And then sort of in the very next passage says, "Get behind me, Satan," right? And I don't think that Jesus was speaking to Peter as Satan. A lot of people take this literally. I think he was saying, look, you are in dangerous territory when you're coming at me with pride, with power, with here's what we can build together. And Jesus just looked at Peter like, that's not my mission here. You have to realize that that's a temptation for me. I very easily could set up my own power and authority and kingdom here, but that's not why I came. And I have to keep my eyes on the prize. And so there's kind of two application pieces that we can take from this passage. And the first is from Jesus's perspective, from, you know, that leadership perspective. If you're a leader in any sense, you have people coming at you, you know, with praise and with, you're doing so well, and you could be this, you could be that. And you have to make sure that your focus is constantly on what does God want me to do here? Not what is my pride saying, what is the power temptation saying, but what is God saying? And secondly, from Peter's perspective, we have to learn how to take rebukes well, right? Proverbs talks a lot about how taking discipline well is such a big part of life, that we have to learn how to do that. That discipline is a good thing, that we need to learn through that. You know, we tend to get so offensive immediately. We put our guards up and say, it's everybody else's fault, it couldn't possibly be mine. But really, if we take a step back and look at what can we learn through this, do they have an actual point, and how do I apply this to my life and get better in this area, we're much better off in the long run. The third thing that we can apply from this passage is there's a point at the end where Jesus says, what is the point if you gain the whole world but lose your soul, right? And so we have to look at what it means to actually develop our soul, that piece of us that is eternal, right? Not our body and our things that we've accumulated in this world and where we get by the end of our life, but to know that death is just a shadow. Our lives continue on for eternity, that we were created as eternal beings that are gonna live forever. And so what are we gonna do after death? Who is that person that exists outside of this world? Jesus is making the point that we have to focus on that person, on developing our souls, on having an eternal perspective, not just a here and now perspective. So talk about that tonight in your groups. How can you focus on developing your soul and that piece of you that's going to last forever? How can you be better at taking discipline and applying it to your life? And how can you be better at staying humble and focusing on what God has for you? So have a great conversation, guys. We'll see you next week.